Hello and welcome back to Cast On, a knitting podcast where I talk about my finished objects, my whips, some yarn acquisitions and some more knitting things. My name is Ellie, I am from Austria and this is episode number 29. Hello and welcome. I am so glad you could join me once again. I don't really have a lot to talk about today, so I really don't know how long this episode will be, but I still hope that you're all doing really well. The weather has been quite nice actually, in terms of it's been rainy and very cold, so it was a really nice break from all of the heat that we had. But that also means that I am already in the autumn and cable sweater mood, which is not ideal because it will be 30 degrees at the weekend again. So yeah, but I've been really enjoying the cooler weather. I've been enjoying the gloomy weather as well, and I hope you found some relief from all of the heat as well, or some heat if you are living in some cooler countries, because I know summer in like the Scandinavian countries is not very warm and not very long either. But I hope that the weather has been okay for you too and you've been enjoying this year's summer, August kind of time. I have two finished objects and I am really happy with both of them. The first one is something that I showed as a whip last time and I just kind of mentioned it on the side, but now it's finished and I'm so happy. This is my Moonset tee by Ozetta. I've been working on this tee for almost 6 months now, I think. So it's been a really long time. I used Olivia and Oliver fibers, Merino, fingering Merino in the colorway Feather, and I made the size 2, I believe, 1 or 2. You can check out my Ravelry notes for the sizing. I always include that there because I always forget. But this is what it looks like. This yarn softened up so much. It is so pleasant to wear. I've worn this yesterday for the first time and it was so nice. It's it's really smooth to the touch and very soft and not scratchy at all, which is obviously very good. It is, I believe, a blend of 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, I think. I could be wrong on that. I don't have the label with me at the moment. But I alternated skeins and you can see that on the side here. Let me show you. You can see a clear line. I don't even need to show you the whole thing, but you can see a clear line, but I'm not too bothered by it. I think it could be, from the visual aspect, it could look like I just didn't block it, not block it properly, but I have the lines where you block it because you're blocking it flat. So all in all, I am really happy with it and I really want to make another one because I think the fit is just incredible. The design is really nice. I only used 2 skeins and I think I had 800 meters. So I was a little bit short. I think I made the smallest size actually. I think I made the smallest size because I had 800 meters and for the size that I wanted to make you needed 813 meters. So I was short by 13 meters, but I just shortened the sleeves. I did not make them as long as the pattern suggested, and then I don't even know, I just knit it until I had almost no yarn left. I have just a tiny nugget left and that makes me really happy because that means I used up all of the yarn and have almost no scraps, which I guess is the goal everyone wants to achieve. So yeah, I do have another 2 hand-dyed yarn skeins, and because I know now I can squeeze out a whole Moonset tee with only 2 hand-dyed yarn hanks, I might make another one, but probably not for a long time, because you do work on 3mm needles, or I think I did, and that's why it took so long, because I had the first bit fairly quickly, but then the body just dragged because it's just knitting in the round, and with fingering weight yarn it feels like you knit on it forever and nothing changes. So what helped me was putting progress markers in it to kind of see how much I actually knit in like one, I don't know, movie or whatever I was doing. The only thing I will have to say that kind of bothers me a little bit, but I think that is completely my fault, the hem rolls up. You do have an I-cord at the sleeves, and it's fine here. Well, maybe not here, it also rolls up here, but on the other side it's fine here, like it lays nice and flat, but then at the bottom it rolls up. Can you see? I might have to block it again, or just the bottom maybe. I did lay it flat, I didn't pin it because I thought it wouldn't need to be pinned, but now that it's rolling it kind of looks a bit strange when I'm wearing it, so I might just have to go back and try and fix that. I don't know what happened, if it's because I bound off too tightly, I really don't know. So I'm praying that with blocking it again this issue will be solved, and yeah, I'm super happy. I highly recommend this pattern if you have a lot of time on your hands and you want to make another fingering weight garment. I would suggest making one of these. She also has a pullover version that I know of in DK weight, so that might be a bit quicker. And yeah, I just love the color detail, it looks so nice and neat. And yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say. The yarn is great. The speckles are still very heavy at the top and then not so much at the bottom, but hey ho, I mean, that's hand-dyed yarn. And yeah, really happy that this project is done and I can start wearing it more often. And then the second finished object, you might have guessed it already, it is my Crescendo summer top by the Knit Purl Girl. Last time I don't even know how much I had left. I think I just joined the new skein. I have to say, I made it a bit too short. I used 4 skeins and the 4th one I only used about half of it, if that, maybe even just a quarter. I did not weigh it. But I wish I made it longer. When I tried it on, it fit nicely and I thought that length would be okay, but that kind of happens to me all the time, that I think it fits really well and then I put on the I-cord or the ribbing or whatever and then it's way too short. So it is a tiny bit too short. It just hits my hip bone. I like my summer shirts to be cropped, but this is, yeah, on the border of being too cropped for me. But this is the yoke, some tiny sleeves and the body. The yarn is Tilia in Café au lait, and yeah, one of my favorite summer yarns. My favorite one is Tilia, which is just a thinner version, but the composition is the same. It is a mix of 53% cotton, something percent linen and viscose. So it is really nice to touch. I think it's a great summer yarn. If you can get your hands on it, definitely do. And I have to check the size again because it seems very wide. I've not tried it on after blocking just yet, but I wanted to block out the lace really nicely to really open it up, because I had some troubles with some of the lace opening up, especially these sides here. But I think that is fixed now. I think you can see nicely now. But I think it might have grown width-wise a bit, which also shrunk it lengthwise. I tried not to pull on it too much by the lace portion and lengthening more at the bottom, but obviously that has not really worked out. The sleeves seem huge, so I don't know how they are going to fit, and if you'll be able to see through the shirt and see my bra from like the side of the sleeve. But I'm really happy with the shirt in general. I think it's a really nice quick summer knit. It seems very elegant as well, especially with the I-cord edge at the top. I opted for an I-cord at the bottom as well. I know I said I wanted to make a folded over hem, and I was still going to do that, but when I tried it on, I thought I actually knit it too long, so then I just bound off with an I-cord. But then with blocking, like I just said, it shrunk again. So I could have still done the folded hem. Technically, I still have some yarn left over, and I can just unpick the I-cord and then do the folded over hem. But I'm just gonna see how it is without it, so just with the I-cord, if I like the length, and if not, then I can always go back and change it. I think that is everything I have to say with the shirt. The instructions are really clear. Her patterns are always really nice to work from, and she does have a chart included, so it's not a difficult lace pattern at all. It goes by really quickly, and she has lots of video support as well in the pattern. So if you want to dabble into something like this, or have just something quick and easy, then I would recommend this pattern. As per usual, sipping on some tea. Today I have some fruited tea by my side. And we can get started with whips. I have to say, I don't have that many whips. I wish I had more, to be honest. I just really want to cast on all of the sweaters, all of the cable knits, but I know summer isn't over, and I really have to pace myself and be careful with those kind of things. But let's start with something that you've seen a lot of times before. It is my Robinson wrap cardigan by Florence Miller. Where is the top? Here we go. This is what it looks like. I don't know where I was last time, but I now started the ribbing at the waist, and this is now the really easy part because you don't have a lot of purling, or at least you don't purl the whole length, you only purl half of it because it's 1x1 rib, and I have this much left for the body. I'm really kind of stressing about yarn. I know I'm one ball short. I might still have to buy one, and maybe the straps will look differently, but I'm trying to use up everything that I have before I go and buy some more, because what I don't want is what has happened to me many times before, is that I think I'm running out of yarn and then I buy another ball and then that one is just lying around because I didn't need it in the end. Anyway, this is what it looks like. You have the bottom here, and I've started one sleeve now. This is where I'm at with the sleeve. For some reason this goes a lot slower than I thought it would, like the sleeve. You just have to knit in the round for a really long time before you start to decreases. But I'm really happy with how this project is turning out. I don't think it will be done before summer ends, which it wasn't really a goal, but it would have been nice. But since I can't really wear my dresses at the moment anyways because it's raining and cold outside, I'm not too worried about it. But my goal for next year is definitely to start the cardigans earlier, or even make some in the winter months so that they are ready for spring and summer. So yeah, this is the sleeve, and I'm just happily knitting along. The yarn is Sandnesgarn Sunday in the colour 4621. It is the really nice lavender, grey lavender colour, and yeah, I don't think there's a lot to say about this. I've shown this, it feels like a million times now, but yeah, just really happy with the project. I don't think there's anything else to say. I really like the yarn choice. I think it's very smooth. I still haven't checked the gauge. I think I am a bit too tight. I am working, it is a DK weight gauge, so I'm holding Sunday double, and I'm working on 4mm needles, but I think I'm pulling it a bit too tightly, which is something I've noticed before with making or like working flat. I made a cardigan this year before, and that was also kind of a big problem for me, where the knit row is how it's the gauge how it's supposed to be, and then the purl row I tighten the yarn way too much because I'm worried that it's going to be too loose, so it gives you a very uneven stitch because one is looser and one is tighter. So I'm hoping that with blocking I can stretch the garment so it will fit me nicely. We'll see. I might be wrong and I might be on gauge, and just all of this ramble was just unnecessary. I don't know yet. So that was my first whip, and then I have 2 new whips. The first one I am so happy and excited about, because I started the Moby sweater by Petite knit. I've wanted to make this pattern for such a long time. I bought the yarn basically when the pattern came out, but I just haven't had really the time or motivation to really do it, but also brain power, because there are constantly new patterns that are coming out that I really want to make, and I feel like I'm always late on trends. So that's just me, I guess, but this is what I have so far. I finished the back portion. This is the back panel. I am completely done now. I just have to put it on a cable and start the front shoulder bits. I'm so happy with this. I think it looks so good. It is fluffy, like, can you see the halo? Let me try and get that. Like, look how fluffy that is. It's incredible. Let's talk about the yarn since we're talking about fluff. I am using Drops Karisma in the colour 1. It is the natural white colour. Nothing special here. And then I am using Filcolana Tilia, my favourite mohair, in colour 101. So also just the off-white base. And Drops Karisma is 100% wool, superwash, I believe. Yes, superwash wool. And Filcolana Tilia is 70% kid mohair and 30% silk. This, I've used this mohair many times before. I used it in this jumper, sweater number 18. I used the same combination, Drops Karisma and Filcolana Tilia. I really like the combination. I really like the mohair. It's one of the mohairs that doesn't itch, even though I am still very sensitive around my neck, so I can't have anything around my neck. But it feels really, really nice. I made all of this in just a couple of evenings. Like, this was kind of fast. I'm surprised by myself because I rewatched all of the Harry Potter films because I felt like it, because it's raining and gloomy outside. So I just sat down and yeah, basically knit all of this while I was watching the films. I am making size 2, 1. I have to check that. I will put that in my Ravelry notes so you can go and check that out, but it's either size 1 or 2. I really can't remember anymore. But this is such a fun pattern, even though it is again a lot of purling because I am working flat at the moment. This was so much fun. I did make a mistake with this cable, which is why I have so many markers along the side, because I actually messed it up at the very beginning down here. The very first twist was the wrong way, so it just looked like a snake going up like this, and it bothered me so much that I said, alright, I will just rip back this section, just lather down and then lather it back up, which worked out actually really well. I'm quite impressed by it. It was a bit difficult to find the correct ladder when you have to turn the stitches to make the cable, but I think it looks, if you compare it to this one, which I didn't have to do anything to, I think it looks good. The only thing is that the stitches are a bit loose on the side of the cable here. You can see they're a bit holy. That's just because when you lather back up, you don't, or this, I couldn't pull the yarn evenly across the whole amount of stitches, so the last one always ended up to be a bit looser and the first ones always ended up a bit tighter, but I don't think that's a big issue. And really happy with this project. I'm going to just continue knitting on it. I don't know, with the warmer weather being back pretty soon, I don't know if I will be able to work on this for a while, but for now I am really enjoying it. I just have to read through the pattern because I feel like now it gets a bit difficult, and yeah, the charts were a lot of fun. This whole back piece was charted, which is very good for me because I like to work off charts. I can't really, well, I can read the written instructions, but for me it's just easier to read the chart. But yeah, I noticed I dropped some mohair loops. Oops. Push them to the other side of the fabric so no one will know. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else to say once again. Let me know if you've made the Moby sweater before, what you think of it. I've only really heard good things about it. I don't think there are a lot of issues with the pattern like some other of Petite Knit's patterns, and yeah, I can't wait to finish it and start wearing it because I think it's just such an incredible design. Alright, I have one more whip to show you, and that is a sock. I really wanted to make socks. I went through my stash, so check out next week's video because I will take you through my yarn stash. And I found this yarn again and I just fell in love with it again, so I wanted to pick it up and start working with it. So this is the sock. Doesn't it just look incredible? I just have no words for this. This is the yarn in its true ball form. This is Ferner Wolle, which is an Austrian wool producer, and this particular sock yarn is called Lungauer Socken, and it is a 4-ply yarn, and it's got cotton in it, which I thought was very interesting. It's got 56% wool, superwash wool, 25% cotton, and 19% polyamide. You get 420 meters in this big chunky thing, and the stitch gauge, it says 24 stitches, but I don't believe that. It is a sock yarn. It feels more like a fingering weight yarn, so I think it's just kind of standard. The color, if you're interested, is 520/22. I think their numbers represent the years. I could be wrong on that, but I've worked with Ferner Wolle before. I find their sock yarn really soft. I like working with it, but the wear is not great, I have to say. I made some socks last year over Christmas, quite a lot of them, with Ferner Wolle because they had this really cool colorway for the Christmas special, and I loved working with the yarn, like I said, but I've worn them not that many times now, and they are basically felted. Not felted, but they are very, because the yarn is so soft, they are very, they pill a lot, and I guess they do felt a little bit. So I'm interested to see how this yarn will perform over time, but so far I really like working with it, and I'm just in love with the colors. I'm almost at the orange bit now, the light orange bit, and I did all of this in like a day. I cast on 64 stitches, which was a mistake. So for the cuff, I think I made like 15 rounds. I could be wrong on that. I cast on with the old Norwegian cast on, so it's a really stretchy cast on, and it is too wide. My foot is not this wide, but I just don't want to rip back. I don't want to rip all of this out and start again. So yesterday I started making the heel flap, and I'm just making a plain vanilla sock. That wasn't the plan though. The plan was to make the Hermione Everyday socks, because I saw them on Instagram. I can't remember who it was, but I saw someone make the Hermione Everyday socks, and in this really gorgeous hand-dyed yarn, and I really felt like making something different than just plain vanilla socks. But what happened was, when I made the ribbing, because of the white bits in the yarn, I mean, you can see it's like a marbled or marred, I don't know the word. The yarn, it's got some white threads through it. You can't really see the ribbing, like the 1x1 rib. So I felt like not making the Hermione Everyday socks because it's got a stitch pattern, and I think it would have just drowned out. I don't think you would have been able to see it, maybe with the lighter colors, but definitely not with the darker, in the darker portions. So I just kept it as a plain vanilla sock, and because I followed the pattern for a different sock pattern, I cast on 64 because that was initially the plan, but 64 stitches in the vanilla sock is an M and I'm actually an S. So I wanted to decrease before I started the heel flap, but then I was on the underground and just felt like knitting in the round, so it was too late by that time to decrease anyway. So they are a bit too big, but maybe that's not a bad thing, because if they felt as well with felting, the things shrink. So Obviously I don't hope that it will felt, because I think that might be really sad, but I'm just saying as like a safety measure, if they do felt, at least I would have a little bit more room in my sock. This has just been a really enjoyable on the ground project. I don't know when I'll make the second sock, because I've not even finished the first one, but I do have a little bit of a second sock syndrome, because I have to cast on the second one immediately, otherwise I just won't knit it ever. And yeah, but this is just a really nice project to take with you, because it's so small, because all the other things that I have are just too big. Like, I can't take my, I don't know, Moby sweater with me when I'm traveling because I need the chart, or I can't take my Robinson wrap with me because it's too bulky and I don't have that much space in my backpack. So I feel like this is just really the perfect travel project. And yeah, I also wanted to try a different heel construction, but here we are again with the slip stitch heel. I do need to make like a chart where I have all of these methods on it, so I can tick them off once I finally do it, so I don't forget about them. But yeah, this is my sock project. I do have another pair of socks which I started a few months ago, and it's a sock tube. I've not really worked on that before because I removed the needles, the shorties, because I needed them for a different project. So I do have to come back to that eventually as well, but for now I'm just really happy to be working on the really happy and bright colours, because I love purples and the really moody colours and reds, so I feel like this yarn is also just really represents me very well. So these were all of my projects that I have ongoing. Now we get to yarn acquisitions, and I do have some, because if you remember last time's video, the postman rang the doorbell and I had to get up, and I said I would show you the yarn next time, which is this time. I have bought some yarn and I have splurged a little bit of yarn on yarn. I'm not proud of it, but at the same time I just couldn't resist, because I just really wanted to treat myself and get something really nice. And I did have a plan in mind, although that plan didn't really work out as I wanted it to, so I just have to keep experimenting a little bit. I bought some Isaya yarn. I don't know how to pronounce it. Is it Isaga, Isaya? I don't know. It is a Danish, I think it's Danish, wool company, and they make really high quality yarn, but it's also very expensive. So I bought this one. I bought the Highland wool in the color rose. This is the color rose. It is gorgeous. I love it. I do have some Isaya as well in the color grease, which you will see in next week's video. And I've not worked with it before, but it just feels super nice. It's 100% wool, fingering weights. You get 275 meters, and it just feels really nice. I made a swatch with it, and the knitting experience with it is just great as well. So I bought this color, and then I bought this color. This is called Wine, and it's a lot darker on camera than it actually is in real life. It is a really dark purpley red. I wouldn't say it's wine color, but it is more of a burgundy color. the camera just doesn't capture it how it actually is. It's not red, it's a lot more purple than what this is. But this is just gorgeous. I have no plans for this one. I just really liked the colour and wanted something different. I think this would be a really gorgeous cable sweater as well. Or not as well, but I think this would look really good as cables. So I'm just going to go in my stash for now. And I will have to hold it with some mohair because it is fingering weight. But yeah, I'm just super happy with those two. And then of course I also had to buy some mohair and try it out and see what the hype is all about. And let me tell you, the hype is so worth it. This is the mohair I bought. This is color 69. I don't think it has a name, at least I couldn't find it. It is absolutely gorgeous. It's a lot darker than what the camera picks up, and it's like a really rosy color. It's like, I can't really describe it. It's pink and red and rose all together with a little bit of grey. I don't know if that makes any sense. It's like an old, in German we have Altrosa, which basically the color describes an older looking pink, and that's exactly what it is. So I'm pairing these two together, and like I said, I've already made a swatch because I want my own design with this. It didn't really work out how I wanted it to, or at least I still need to figure out how to calculate all the numbers, but the stitch looks incredible with it. I don't have the swatch with me at the moment, but these two go so well together. And this mohair, oh my god, I am absolutely ruined for the rest of my life because this is so expensive, but it is so incredibly soft. I have never felt anything softer in my life before. There is like no edge to it, like none at all. I mean, Filcolana Tilia I thought was soft, but this feels scratchy compared to this, which is insane to say because this already is incredibly soft. But if you know how this feels, this is about 10 times softer than that. I am ruined, and I think a lot of you are as well, because when I showed this to you on Instagram, a lot of people sent me messages saying they feel the same and they know exactly what I'm talking about. But I can't always buy such expensive yarn and such expensive mohair. Yet. Let's say it, yet. So yeah, those are my 3 yarn acquisitions. I am really happy with them. Especially those two, and then this was just kind of like a splurge on the side because I feel like that the wool yarn is actually really affordable. It is 100% wool. Here I paid about 6 or 7 euros, I think. I could be wrong on that, but it was definitely under 10. And I think for a fingering weight 100% wool yarn with an incredible selection, that is more than justified. Because if you compare it to Sandnesgarn Sunday, that's also 7 or 8 euros. So yeah, I don't know what my point is here, but let me just check. You actually get more yardage with this one. With this one you get, with the ESA you get 275 meters, and with the Sandesgarn Sunday you get only 235 meters. So this is actually cheaper and you get more yarn. Who doesn't like that? Anyway, really happy with the yarn. I don't know when I'm gonna cast any of those things on, but speaking of casting things on, I really want to get more whips going. I know some people might not agree with me because I already have 3 whips going at the moment, but I need variety, and I'm kind of done with summer projects. I know this is really weird to say, especially just after I released my summer knitting plans video, but with this weather I really don't feel like casting anything cottony and lightweight on. I wanted to make the Audrey top by Petite knit, which might still happen. We will see about that if it does get hot again. If not, then we are full on in the sweater season, and I am so here for it because I love cables. I really want to make so many gorgeous cable sweaters and really cool textural sweaters this year, and yeah, I can't wait to get started. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe if you did. Share it with someone if you think they would enjoy my content as well. I hope your projects are going well. Let me know down below if you're still working on summer projects, or if you're also slowly transitioning into the autumn project, or if you wish that you could start with autumn projects but can't just yet. I would be very interested in that. And yeah, I hope you're doing well. Stay tuned for next week's video. Like I said, it's all about my yarn stash and my projects that I have planned for it, and I'm gonna see you next time. Happy knitting. Bye.